Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So I do have some language to report out from closed session. The board approved a settlement agreement related to a salary dispute with the certificated employee and the Lemon Grove Teachers Association. The motion was made by board member Preciado and seconded by board member Smith, with 4 votes in favor and 0 against. So um, we will now move on to opening functions and Superintendent Vincent, recognition of Mount Vernon Elementary.
I would love to bring up Principal Soltero to introduce Mount Vernon students. So at Mount Vernon, we like to allow the students to be the leaders on campus. So they will be leading the presentation today. So our Mustang Council will be leading the presentation about awesome happenings at Mount Vernon this year.
Okay. Hi, my name is Olivia, the Secretary of Mount Vernon Mustang Council. Good evening, Board President, Board members, and Superintendent and community members. This year, Mount Vernon has been filled with growth, joy, culture, and leadership, and today we are proud to celebrate it all. Please join me in welcoming our incredible Mustang Council. They will share more about these awesome happenings that took place in this school year.
My name is Liam, and I'm the treasurer. We are student leaders who help make our school a positive and welcoming place. We lead assemblies, run the Mustang store, and support events across campus. Dirigimos asambleas, manejamos la tienda Mustang y apoyamos eventos en toda la escuela.
This year, something very exciting happened. We got our first cheer squad. Este año, algo muy emocionante sucedió. Tuvimos nuestro primer equipo de policías. Miss Wong created this club for second and third grade girls to build friendships and feel a sense of belonging.
Another meaningful event at Mount Vernon is our annual Peace Walk. Otro evento muy significativo en Mount Vernon es nuestra Caminata de la Paz anual. It brings our school community together to promote kindness, respect, and unity. Nos recuerda de que incluso los pequeños actos de amabilidad pueden hacer una gran diferencia. At Mount Vernon, we choose peace every day.
My name is Aaliyah, and I'm the vice president. One of our favorite events was our Día de los Muertos Carnival. Uno de nuestros eventos favoritos fue nuestro carnaval del Día de los Muertos. Las familias crearon un altar hermoso y nuestra comunidad se unió para celebrar. We also have lunch with your scholar at least once a month. When our parents, family members join us for lunch, and during ELP we won the football tournament. We study hard y jugamos con todo.
My name is Andrea, and I am the 5th grade representative. We enjoyed assemblies like Schoolyard Rap. We learned about leaders who helped make space travel possible. Aprendimos sobre líderes que hicieron posible los viajes al espacio.
My name is Vanessa, and I'm a 4th grade representative. Another favorite was Grammy winners 1, 2, 3 Andrés. Otro favorito fue el grupo ganador del Grammy 1, 2, 3 Andrés. Their music in English and Spanish brought our school together.
My name is Nathanael, I'm the 6th grade representative. This month we introduced Read with Your Loved One. Este mes presentamos Lee con un ser querido. Families brought blankets and books to read together. Las familias trajeron mantas y libros para leer juntos. It was a beautiful experience full of connection. Families loved it and want it to happen again.
Let's give our Mustang Council a big round of applause. This is what our Mount Vernon is all about: student leadership, connection, and community. Thank you for making this such an incredible year.
Can we get comments before certificates? Board members, thoughts? Amazing. Muy bien el español. Es un placer con todos, todas las familias, todos los parientes que sus hijos son maravillosos. Gracias. I'll pass it over to one of our board members here. Trustee Smith, would you like to share?
Yes, so thank you. I'm gonna give name recognition here to Yaretsi, Aliyah, Liam, Olivia, Nathanalia, um, Andrea, and Mia and Vanessa. Thank you for your presence tonight. It is always scary to come up here and speak to a room of adults, so you guys did a wonderful job. All of the events, Principal Soltero, that you guys did, the word that stuck out to me was family, and of course, it's one of your top 3 things that you're focusing on, but I absolutely love it, especially books and blankets. That sounds so much fun, but keep up the great work, keep up the family events at the school, and I hope to come out to one of those events.
For sure.
Thank
You're
you.
always welcome.
Thank you.
Super Preciado.
One of the things that I miss the most about being on campus day to day is all these little activities that you do for the families and then getting to know the kids. So thank you so much for sharing everything that's happening. I know it takes a lot of work from your teachers, from your Mustang Council, and all the staff to get everything put together. And I know that your parents have to take time out of their day to come enjoy these things. And so make sure that you take lots of pictures, you remember it, and enjoy every single minute because it does go by super quick. So thank you for providing these amazing memories for all our students. And also, you're right. I think next time you have the what was it called? The
Read with your loved
Read
one.
with your loved ones. Yeah. I know I missed it this year when you guys had it at your school, but I really, really want to come out and try to do it at all of the schools because that sounds like a lot of fun. And y lo que más me impresiona es cuando vienen y dan su presentación en español como una persona bilingüe. Los agradezco. Muchas gracias por todo a los estudiantes y a los padres. Gracias.
Thank you.
So I just want to add, read with your loved one is something that we want to try at least once a month or every other month. It's an activity that we tried not just for Read Across America. It was something that actually Dalia Garcia, one of our assistant principals, saw at her daughter's school, and she's like, let's try it and see what the feedback is. Parents loved it. They want to do it again, so we're probably going to try it again in May. And just Friday or Thursday, 20 minutes, we opened the gates, and it was just beautiful. Parents laying on the grass with families, loved ones, little ones, checking kids out of their classroom and just reading. It was just a beautiful, beautiful event. So I want to thank Dalia, our assistant principal, for bringing that idea to campus.
Awesome. Thank you. Trustee Miller?
Well, it's wonderful to see all the children, of course. It's always wonderful to see the parents. I know how hard it is. You work all day, to get everybody together, you gotta get everybody fed, you got to get them out here, you got, the whole thing. It's so wonderful to see the dedication from the parents. And I just loved, I think it was Liam that showed, where's Liam? There you are. I think you're the one that showed the slide for the annual peace walk. Is that right? Well, these are wonderful things to learn, right? Kindness, respect, and unity. These are things that even as adults, sometimes we have trouble pulling together. And there's nothing like learning it at a young age. And there's nothing like the cabinet here, everyone here on the board, your parents, your churches, all of the groups that you might be involved in. Everybody's really trying to instill those things in ourselves and in you. And it's inspiring to hear it from the mouths of children. So thank you so much. You guys did a fantastic job. I would say something in Spanish, but my Spanish is horrendous.
Thank you, Trustee Miller. Superintendent Vincent, are we gonna do a little certificate presentation as a board?
We do. We'd love all the students to come right back up here. We have a certificate for you, and we'd love to take a photo with you and the board.
you so much. Moving on to item B, recognition cleaner for kids, Superintendent Vincent.
Yes, thank you. The board would like to formally recognize and extend our appreciation to the Clean Earth for Kids and Sydney Pritchard for their contribution of $2,000, which will be used for our gardens. We'll actually be splitting those funds between San Altos and Vista La Mesa Academy. So we have a certificate for Sydney as well as a plaque. So we would love to invite you all up also for a photo. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Superintendent, is someone speaking on their behalf as well, or?
Good evening, everybody. And bzz. I don't know where to start. I feel a really special sense of empowerment and like I make a difference tonight. And I feel very grateful and very valued and happy to have the opportunity to present the grant from Clean Earth for Kids. And I also want to tremendously thank Suzanne and John and the rest of the team at Clean Earth for Kids for everything that they do in the fight for environmental, social, and racial justice. If it weren't for them, I don't think I would have been able to be here today. So I'm very grateful. And I do have to get a little personal by saying that it doesn't happen too often where I tremendously feel like I make an impact and make a difference. And tonight is one of those special nights that I feel that way. And, you know, this is really a bright light in a lot of what has been happening in the world the last like year or two and what I've been dealing with. So I want to tremendously thank all of you and the school board for having me and for these awards. It makes me feel really, really good. And I don't know that there's any other way that I can explain how much gratitude and how humble I am right now and like how I feel. Sorry if I sound like I'm stuttering a lot. I feel like I wasn't fully prepared. This was kind of last minute. I called the school district office yesterday and just found this out. My email box is flooded, so I just found this out. So I'm really, really grateful. And I didn't get a chance to study the paper enough that I gave to Michelle Flores, but I will say that there are a lot of good pesticide alternatives. You can plant rosemary and lavender and basil, and I think marigold was on there. And I can't remember which one, but they all help to keep away different bugs. A lot of them help to keep away fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, ants, all that stuff. And I would encourage you guys to adopt those healthier alternatives in your personal lives and in gardens, as well as like consider maybe like rain harvesting or even putting out like small buckets to collect rainwater and use it for things. I know that like installing rain barrels can be a hassle, could be expensive. I don't know if there's rebates anymore, but I would highly advise that. I don't know how well these alternatives work, but it doesn't hurt to try. And it's very important because a lot of these pesticides are actually banned in other countries, but yet still here used in the US, and they're terrible for pollinators and for our health, especially children. Some of them are hormone disruptors, some of them cause cancer, a lot of them like pollute our water supply. There's also pesticide drift, which I'm pretty sure it happens where the wind like blows the pesticide residue and it can contaminate other plants and soil. And also, there's a lot of things that we should really consider to better our health and our planet and our communities and our environment. So I'm really, really thankful for the opportunity to speak today
Thank
and
you.
hope that the paper I gave we can get copies.
Thank you so much. We'd like to take a photo with you before you leave. Board members, so we can come up for a photo. Okay, thank you so much. Next up on the agenda is public comment for agenda items. Do we have any public comments? Okay, we have no public comments. Governing board correspondence. Board members, if we can't, we have a pretty meaty agenda. If we can keep our comments really brief for board member correspondence. And if you just can signal if you want to go, then I'll call on you. Trustee Smith.
I'll run through this. I had a pretty busy March. All right, since we last met as a board, I did attend the DLAC meeting, had a lunch, my first lunch with Trustee Tortoriello. Attended the Black and Pan-African Student Excellence meeting, visited VLMA with Mariana, Superintendent Mariana Vincent, and Trustee Tortoriello. Attended our annual multicultural fair and chess tournament. We had the special board workshop, and after that I attended one of two of the City of Lemon Grove's community workshops. Attended San Miguel's Leadership Day. Attended the Lemon Grove incident recognition at the neighborhood. And then most recently here in April, attended Coast to Coast and the Celebrating Partners Lua, which was fabulous. And that wrapped up my last month and a half.
Busy month for you, Trustee Preciado.
I think I had a lot of the same meetings as Trustee Smith, DLAC, Multicultural Fair, San Miguel Leadership Day, and then Coast to Coast, and then the Celebrating Partners. And on a different committee personal, I got to go to the softball jamboree with the Little League softball. And we came up second place. We're short 3 points in winning that championship game. So shout out to all our softball girls. They did amazing. And I think we'll have we'll get a different chance to talk about Coast to Coast and what we did, right? Okay. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Miller?
I'm good.
Okay. Really quickly, I'm not going to spend too much time on Coast to Coast. This is my second year attending with our amazing board members. And I will say that our board members really brought it in terms of supporting our students. So, there's lots of laws being passed in Congress related to student privacy and online safety. Our board members are able to advocate at Capitol Hill and assuring that with Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs and other like-minded individuals to make sure that kids are protected online as much as possible, especially when it comes to design of online tools. We learned a lot about the Stop Profiling Youth and Kids Act, which is essentially how our kids are being tracked by big tech companies. Fortunately, we have also a pretty amazing board member. She's not present right now, Trustee Tortorella, which added some insight around how that happens and what's happening with big tech. But overall, just one big shout out. Last year was a little crazy in that trip because we were trying to prevent cuts. The whole nation was trying to prevent cuts to special education. And so this year it's stable funding with plus a little bit, but special education is still underfunded by $30 billion. So it's not where it could be. And there's a lot of things going on, but I think the big takeaway is that we just have to be there. We have to be present, advocating for our kids, our families, our parents. You just can't sit, especially in our roles as board members, we have to bring it. And I feel like our board members did that. So that's all I have to report on that. Moving on to action item 5A, and that is Director Burton, and that's rural health.
Yes, coming to you tonight for your review and approval, an increase to the Row Health contract in order to accommodate for leaves that we had to contract with Row Health to cover, as well as additional services to students, and opening up to the board for any questions.
Board members, any questions? My quick question is about the changes and increases, because we're coming back. This is essentially like a close to 30% increase for the coming year. Are we going to budget at the final number 711 or whatever the number is, as opposed to the 500, so we can avoid coming back and forth? Or is that even going to be enough, I guess?
So with special education, unfortunately, we can never know for sure what services will be needed, as it's constantly reviewed and changed through the IEP document and process. So a student may not need a service this year, and then it gets added at the beginning, middle, or end of the year. And some of those services require additional staffing. So we also want to do our best to anticipate all costs for the year, but we also don't want to overestimate too much. So we really try and work on a precision base. This is what we know we're going to spend. But with the board direction, we can do a big kind of overestimation, if you will, but we try and keep it very precise. These are the things we're paying for. This is what we will need to continue for the year. So that's why we have come back multiple times.
Okay.
And what I would anticipate is the same would happen next year.
Okay, thank you for
Yeah.
answering the question. Board
Yeah.
members, Trustee Smith?
Just pointing out, we had already budgeted, so this was already, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, this action item, is there a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Trustee Preciado, is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Smith, all in favor, say aye. Okay, motion carries unanimously. 5B, C change therapy, Director Burton.
Yes, this evening we are talking about contracts a couple of times, and Sea Change Therapy is also a non-public agency that is very similar to Row Health. They provide different services, and so they are a smaller contract, but we are asking for an increase in order to support a leave for one of our service providers.
Yeah.
Open it up to the board for any questions.
Questions, board members? Okay, I'll move to approve. Is there a second?
I can second.
Trustee Preciado, further discussion? None. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. 5C, swing education, Superintendent Vincent.
Thank you, board members. This is an adjustment to the swing education contract. Swing Education, as you know, is the organization we partner with to provide substitute teachers when we cannot fill those positions with our internal substitute pool. This is not an increase to the budget. It's just a budget adjustment. These expenses have already been budgeted, and this amendment has no fiscal impact.
Okay. Quick question. So with this, was there a time where we did some of these services in-house? Is there a way to do it less costly, or have we, because it seems like I looked at the last 3 or 4 years of contracts and seeing this number keeps going up, and I'm wondering, as we staff up in HR, is it going to mitigate some of this, or is
So always the first intent is to staff with our own substitute pool. hopeful that with the new executive director of human resources coming on board, that will continue to expand that internal pool. But really, the first and primary goal is get a substitute in that classroom, right? Because we know in order for learning to continue, that there has to be that adult present in the classroom. And so we've partnered with Swing Education that has helped us to greatly reduce, not eliminate entirely, but greatly reduce the number of times that we need to either split classrooms when a substitute is unavailable.
Our rates compared to other districts in terms of hourly rates, are they competitive? Are we drawing people? Is there a way to tweak that a little bit?
We can share our sub rate comparisons to the board if you would like to see that. Mhm.
Great, thank you. That's the only questions I have. Anybody else?
I have no questions, but I'll move.
Okay, moved by Trustee Smith. Is there a second? I'll second. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Okay, great. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to 5E, California School Employees Association Memorandum of Understanding. Oh, I skipped on 5D. Thank you, Superintendent. Declaration of need for fully qualified educators. Superintendent Vincent.
Yes, this is an item that is brought annually to the board by Human Resources. Every year, the school district must submit a declaration of need for fully qualified educators to the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing, which would allow the district to request emergency permits if fully credentialed teachers are not available for certain positions. Of course, this would only be if needed, and our first approach is always to hire fully credentialed teachers. But provides us that flexibility should we need to hire someone on an emergency or limited assignment permit.
Okay. So this is more in case we need to do it, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'll move to approve.
Second.
Second by Trustee Smith. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Okay. E, California School Employees Association Memorandum of Understanding 2026 Classified Calendars.
This MOU is between the Lemon Grove School District and the California and our CSEA, chapter number 280, regarding classified work year calendars for next year. I would highlight a couple changes which were done collaboratively with our classified union. It's an increase to the media specialist position, ensuring that our media specialists are coming back to work enough days to get all those books in the hands of our teachers and students. And also increasing our expanded learning program, ELP enrichment leaders and group leaders days to that 213 workday calendar, again, providing that time for professional development on the front end of the school year. And so both of this MOU is contingent upon CSEA approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Just out of curiosity, the media specialists, are they AI trained at all in this age of AI? Is there, how do we support their AI development in media? It's more of a question.
We can loop back with Ed Services on support for our media specialists
Okay.
regarding AI implementation.
Awesome.
I have a quick question. I know this year we've had to close ELP at different sites for different days. So will this be kind of like eliminating having to close it during the school year because they're going to be here ahead of the students getting here? No, sorry.
So this is separate from that. So in our district focus of positive behavior and discipline, we wanted to ensure that they attended the same training alongside with staff. So that the increase for ELP, you will see that it's for the summer training so that they are able to be fully trained before the school year starts.
Perfect, thank you.
Trustee Preciado, are you sharing that you've experienced some get laps or?
No, each site had they had to do training, so each site had to close ELP on one day. And I just have to say that they did give like a lot of notice and a lot of reminders. So I do have my nephew who's in the ELP program, so we knew way ahead of time and we were able to figure it out for him. So I do really appreciate that, but I was just wondering if that was like, because
Yeah.
this year we found that we needed to do that, if the extra days would cover, so
Okay.
they wouldn't have to do that.
Thank you. Had my son in ELP too. He loves it. I know where we would be without it. All right. That was not a motion yet, so let's make a motion. Somebody would like to make a motion?
Need, so I'll make a motion.
Moved by Trustee Smith. Is there a second? Trustee Preciado. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, new board policy, catastrophic leave program. Superintendent Vincent.
Yes, thank you, board members. If you recall, a few months back, we approved board policy and catastrophic leave for our certificated staff. This is the board policy for catastrophic leave for management, formally establishing that program through board policy.
Quick question. So is there any way we can do a catastrophic leave for everybody to contribute to it, or is there a restriction on that?
So there is, by everyone, is there a group you're thinking of?
Well, I'm just thinking like, if a CSEA, it might be a larger amount than administration or administrators, but a need is a need,
Mhm.
regardless of whether you're a teacher or somebody else.
Yeah.
If you're in a district, I would think that people contribute,
Yes.
would not care what hat you're wearing. They just want to help somebody out.
For sure. So we approved the certificated process some months ago and are working collaboratively with our association on that. For classified, there exists language in the collective bargaining agreement around this. So there is already a process for classified, but management did not have a process in board policy.
Okay. So right now there isn't one uniform, so we're adding to who else can benefit, right? Okay. Questions, board members? I think it's terrific. We're having our community pull together when people are in need of help. I'll move to approve.
I will second.
Second, Trustee Preciado. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Okay, motion carries. ELP program, Director Fulinaro.
Yes, for this board item, I'd actually like to introduce and invite Christine Palomo, our Director of ELP, and Tasha Whitley, our ELP Regional Supervisor, who will be presenting our expanded learning program plan for your approval tonight. This plan represents so much more than a compliance requirement. It's truly a comprehensive vision for how we support students beyond the school day. It outlines how we provide safe, engaging, and inclusive environments across all of our 8 sites. This plan ensures that our program is not just an extension of time, but also an extension of purpose. So it is my pleasure to invite to the podium Christine and Tasha.
Good evening, board members, cabinet, colleagues, and community. As Miss Amy said, I'm Christine Palomo, and it's an honor to serve as the Director for Expanded Learning. I'm very excited this evening to share with you our program plan, as ELP has definitely grown and evolved over the years. If I could get the next slide, please. If you take a look at the timeline, you'll see back in 2002, we first received our ACES grant. And then we had COVID and, other, milestones through those years. And then in 21-22, as a district, we were so lucky to get the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program grant. It has provided us with the opportunity to increase our programming, increasing what our students have available, while also meeting the ever-changing needs of our students. We could go to the next slide. Quick enrollment at a glance. So currently for the before school program, we have 371 students that are enrolled. In our after school program, we have just over 1,000 students enrolled, and that is really a celebration because that's about 1/3 of our district enrollment that is enrolled in ELP, either 5 days a week or participating in our electives, which are offerings that happen, once, sometimes twice a week. And then we have our intersession enrollment, and we have enrolled over 1,000 students this past year for our intersession. So that is our fall, our spring, and last year's summer program. I also want to highlight that for the ELOP program, we are required to operate 30 days when school is not in session. Here in Lemon Grove, we have been operating 35 days. And so I just want to highlight that additional service that we are providing to the community. Like Amy said, this document is so much more than compliance, but really meeting the needs of our families and community. Alrighty, so the components of a program plan is really what anchors us in the expanded learning program. We guide our work in the expanded learning quality standards, which do come from the California Department of Education. And today we are presenting to you the revised plan because this plan has really been thoughtfully developed to align with the district's strategic plan to make sure we are capturing the work we're doing in conscious discipline, as well as those engaging opportunities that we are bringing to students that connect them to the CTE world as well. I will share a few highlights from the program as well as ELP. So if we could get to the next slide, I'll go ahead and get started on some of those highlights. One of our key focuses has been conscious discipline. So we did have the opportunity for our ELP staff members this year to attend those conscious discipline trainings alongside the school site staff. We have our staff members utilizing those brain smart, starts with the students, empowering students to, be owners of that problem solving and working through, challenges with their peers. That way our students have that consistency all throughout the day. At the same time, we're really expanding those real world opportunities. So our students have the opportunity to go on field trips that are connected to CTE. We have that small group targeted academic support happening thanks to our intervention teachers. We have students that are learning financial literacy. They're learning how to interview, write resumes, as collectively we get them ready for that next chapter. If we could go to the next slide. Youth voice is a big part of our program. We don't want our students to just be participants, but we want them to be co-creators in their experience. So in ELP, our students have the opportunity to complete a formal survey every year, as well as give feedback on a regular basis to their leaders by exercising that voice in the different clubs that they want to sign up for. In the program, we also really embrace health and wellness. So we have our nutrition services department who does provide that supper meal each day for our students. But we also offer nutrition education. So at sites, you'll see students working in the gardens, and we also offer cooking classes. In ELP, we are committed to hiring that workforce that reflects our community as stated in our strategic plan. And I turn and look at my colleague Tasha, our regional supervisor, because she has really played a vital role in organizing and hosting multiple job fairs for ELP throughout the years. Tasha will also organize a team of colleagues to go out to the local colleges to have a booth at these job fairs as well. Another highlight that I would like to give thanks to Tasha for is for her organization of special events that really represent the diversity here in our community. And so our students have a variety of special events throughout the year. Two that I would like to highlight are the Hispanic Heritage Celebrations, as well as the Black History Empowerment event. The Black History Empowerment event started as a standalone event at Tasha's site many years ago, is now what I believe a district-wide and a community-wide engagement event. From there, we will talk briefly about professional development. We are committed to professional development, and that shows up every week through what we call learning labs. Those are short windows of time, but they're impactful windows of time. We cover topics everything from academics, enrichment, compliance, conscious discipline, you name it, but there's something going on every week that our colleagues can be a part of that learning. Alrighty, we'll go to the next slide. The work that we do is truly collaborative. From our school site teams to our department teams to our ELP leaders, they are truly, working together to make sure that our students have that seamless, experience from whether it's, drop off at 6:30, pick up at 2:30, or, pick up at 6 o'clock at night. We also have a wide variety of community partners that support our school and our community. And our community partners, I'll just rattle some of them off, provide our music program, our chess, provide us outdoor outreach. You'll see our students go kayaking, the fine and performing arts, that outdoor education, and CTE field trips. We are regularly getting feedback, as I had mentioned, from our students, but I also want to add that annually we do get feedback from other stakeholders, including our principals, our parents, and our teachers. And that information is very crucial to the design of our program. That feedback paired with monthly fiscal meetings helps us ensure that the decisions that we are making have students at the center. I'll also add that this year in ELP, we have started learning walks with our site leads and group leads, and that allows our site leaders and group leads to visit the site of a peer. They're allowed to collaborate, reflect, and continue to grow and refine their program. And I will close out by saying thank you, Cabinet and Board, for setting the vision and direction for our district. I want to thank our entire ELP staff. This work is not possible without them. So big kudos to them as well. As you know, they're up early in the morning, late into the evening, and then here for some of the intercessions. And we are excited to continue to do this work together as we prepare our future leaders, workers, and our citizens. And so thank you again, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Standing. Thank you both, Director Palomo, Tasha, right? Yeah. For all your amazing work. And I know there's countless of so many people involved in this. I would say so many times over and over that my son and many kids like him benefit from this. Makes a huge difference in their ability to do things that they, even chess. Who would have thought chess would be the coolest thing ever? But it is apparently. So thank you for your leadership. I'll turn it over to board members if they have anything else to share.
Christine, I think you looked down maybe like 5 times your whole presentation. So you know this director knows this job like the back of her hand. And when you have a director that knows the ins and outs, knows her people, and has a right hand wing woman like Tasha in the corner who connects everything with the community, it's just a great addition to the district. What you guys do, my kids have all gone through the ELP program since we moved here about 7 years ago. We've seen how much it has evolved. I know my 8th grader likes to go to wildlife. So I'm hearing you're going, what? Can you sign this waiver? What are you doing? You're going on water. That's incredible because this is, the time frame where they need those hands-on experiences. And when you look at the number of attendants, I see that number as kids not getting into trouble after school. I'd rather them be rock climbing or playing chess or cooking. I think they made like Brazilian lemonade one time, but everything is a learning experience. So for the fact that they can have those memories here within our district is very powerful. So thank you for everything that you do and supporting the early mornings, the late nights, and just for the partnership and the impact it has on our community. As a parent, I will say thank you.
You're welcome.
Because it's allowed me to be able to stay and do what I needed to do at work, knowing that my kids are safe. And whoever you guys have manning the gates, they take their jobs very seriously. They will tell a parent, you need to wait, like you need to go in line. And so I appreciate
They're really nice when
that.
they do that.
They are nice,
Really
they are great. Yeah, and that's exactly the expectation. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Trustee Preciado.
Yeah, I do want to say this program has grown so much. And I know that you spoke a little bit on ELOP, but it really wasn't just like the funding, because even before we had the funding, like the small group of people who were in the after school program and before school, like they did so much with what little they had. So I really appreciate that now that you have the funding, and like you could have just kept it the same, but you said like, no, like these are our dreams and this is what our kids deserve. So you guys have gone above and beyond. And like I know my kids never got to go into ELP, but my niece and nephew do. And then so I wasn't really like, I didn't really know what was happening, but like I get to see all the cool things they do. And I know that when they have to stay at school late, that they're not just like sitting in a classroom. And like I don't feel bad. Like, well, I do feel bad that they have to stay late, but I know that they're doing something that's enriching for them. So I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for taking care of our littles.
Any other comments? So, Superintendent Vincent, this is an action item, not information? Okay. I'll move to approve.
I second.
Second, Trustee Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to, thank you. H, Memorandum of Agreement After School Education and Safety Program. Director Flanaro has got some big dollars there, 1.2 million grant. Let's bring it.
So next, I bring to you for approval the memorandum of agreement that formalizes the district's participation in the ACES program that Ms. Palomo just described. Approval of this agreement allows the district to continue providing comprehensive before school and after school programming across our elementary and middle school sites.
Thank you. Now I understand the logic here. Thank you. Any other questions in spending this money? Curious, is this something we applied for, or is it part of our demographics and process?
We do apply for it, yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Kudos to you and the district for making it happen. Any questions? I'll move to approve. There is second. Second, Trustee Preciado. All in favor? Motion carries. All right. Thank you. Great news for our kiddos. Superintendent Vincent, Lemon Grove District Facilities Update.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle, for pulling that up. This is an opportunity for the board to discuss updates and renew commitment to the progress on the Lemon Grove Recreation Center bathrooms. This has been a joint city board collaboration and conversation, honestly, probably since even before I stepped into the superintendency. And so I wanted to start off first by just setting some context of where we've been, the conversations we've had, and just open it up for board questions and conversations. And again, action related to the progress and conversations around the rec center bathroom specifically. So the recreation center is a joint use space. The building belongs to the city, but the land belongs to the school district. The district uses the facility basically Monday through Friday, school days. During school hours, our middle school PE students are in there. We've got our after-school athletics program through ELP, and of course, for special events like the Multicultural Fair. The city has purview over that area on weekends and after 6 o'clock when our ELP program is done. So that's basically that joint use agreement over the rec center. So it is a partnership. Next slide. There have been many requests from the community to open up the bathrooms for public use, particularly on the weekends. The bathrooms are also regularly used, as I mentioned, by our students. So at the last full joint city board meeting in July of 2025, so we of course meet as a full board with the full city council every year in July. There was conversation at that time between the board and the city about progress on this project. Follow-up conversations between myself and the then city manager included an agreement to split the costs on the repair to the bathrooms, as there was conversation about repairing the bathrooms prior to opening them up to the public. The district offered basically to lead the design. As you know, we've done a lot of work. Thank you, facilities and Tiana, on our with all of our bond work and our facilities work. So you know we've been on a roll. So we offered to take the lead in that design conversation, and we have been collaborating actively with the city on that since July. Next slide. We recently held our informal joint city collaboration. That's where we have 2 board members and 2 city council members that come together. And, you know, we schedule those meetings periodically throughout the year. We met in March, just last month, Our facilities project director, Carlos Avalos, provided an update at that time on the progress related to the rec center bathrooms with, those initial design conversations, initial budget projections. And whereas we were anticipating the project costing about $200,000, again, with that split 50-50, 100 for the district, 100 for the city. And there was also a commitment from that meeting of, especially with some changes at the city level, that we need to get this documented in writing. And again, it's partially why this is being brought again for board review and approval again. Make sure this is still the path we want to be on, because then we will work to get an official contract or MOU with the city on our shared commitments. So the tentative plan currently would be, pending board approval and recommitment to this project, would be to present the design options at the full joint city board meeting in July this year, and then get moving on the timeline for that in a way that would, of course, minimize impact to, student operations for us. So next slide for board consideration. Again, continued commitment to the partnership with the city to repair the bathrooms and commitment to fund the plot project, including possible increases, as the most updated projection since the last meeting is now at 244 total, of which half would be 122,000 to the district, which we know for anyone who's done construction, sometimes things increase. So we would just like authorization and commitment clarity from the board on your commitment to this project and how you would like cabinet to proceed.
Great. Thank you, Superintendent Vincent. And I appreciate your leadership on this because this is outside of the learning scope, but it is sort of indirectly with the learning scope. So quick question that I had, and I shared this with you earlier, is when do we expect them to vote on something similar in their city council where they have a presentation like this and also make that commitment?
So I have given the interim city manager a heads up that we were going to be revisiting this. So I know this is and has been on his radar. Our tentative plan would be the July joint city board where all 5 board members, all 5 city council members make the final decision on moving forward.
But we're making a decision to adopt this already, right? So I guess, is there something that shows that I'm supportive of it? I'm just kind of curious, like, what is their, so they haven't had this agendized at all this year in terms of their dollar commitment yet?
There had been prior conversations from July.
Okay, from
and
July.
a commitment from the city at that time to fund it at 50%.
From July, right?
From our July
Okay,
joint city
got
board
it.
meeting. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
that was the action taken at that time.
Thank you for the clarification. Board members, other questions? Trustee Miller?
Has anything different now that Lydia's gone?
We continue to have strong relationships with the city, have had great collaborations with interim city manager, and so we continue to move forward together.
Yeah. I didn't know if maybe that had, kind of deteriorated or not. Good.
Any other questions?
Just, so I'm on this committee with the district, and this is something that's near and dear to me. I threw out some dates of when I would actually like to see things in motion, but this is one of the top priorities we have in regards to our discussion and commitment around the bathrooms. I am in favor as well. I know that some new developments in regards to some concerns came up, i.e. hot water, as well. And behind the scenes, some of the logistics of cleaning, making sure that the campus was cleaned, access. Those are some of the topics of conversation we have at our committee. Who's going to be responsible for what? So all of those things are being ironed out at the committee level between the district and the city. Today, I know we're talking specifically about trying to make sure we move forward in regards to the bathroom renovations. That I feel would be, or I believe that to be a necessary step for us to move forward and make sure that that the district has a stance, so the city is not questioning what our contribution or our partnership in that. the bigger picture that I have is further developed on, which is making sure that we communicate accessibility so the community can have access to the rec center when the school is not using it. What are the hours of availability when we are not in session? What does summer look like? Who's going to be responsible for programs? And of course, just awareness, like who's posting what on what websites, and for the city and the district to collaborate on accessibility to that. So those are plans further down the line, but I just wanted to, to put down that the rec center is something that I feel is the heart of Lemon Grove. The community is asking to use it. The folks that do use it here on Saturday, they respect the space. It's great to see the programs growing, but I I honestly believe both the city and the district, we've talked about it long enough, so it's great to be able to put these actions into motion. And so I will motion for moving forward
Okay,
with this.
thank you. Thanks for filling in those gaps, Trustee Smith. I agree with you. More detail and planning. We're definitely behind it, but we look forward to getting that brought back, the additional details, or however we support the city manager on that committee to make sure that things are worked out. So
So can I get clarity? Are you asking to have an additional update on the rec center between now and July?
For me, no. This moving forward, but I would say to keep it as a topic of conversation every couple months, or maybe a meeting after we meet with when we
that
have our
committee that
committee
you
meetings.
mentioned, Trustee Smith, when does that meet? The city, the other committee?
Know that when is the next one? I don't have it memorized.
That's the informal joint city collaboration, the one that.
Is that a May meeting too, or is that?
I think the next informal joint city collaboration is in June.
Okay.
It generally precedes the full joint
Yeah.
board
Okay.
city collaboration.
Sounds like we'll have another opportunity.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, sorry, just for clarity,
Yes.
in this space, we do not need to further agendize the rec center until we come together with the city council in July.
So after June, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Okay, I'll second. Is there more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Okay, motion carries. Item J, resolution commitment to equity in Lemon Grove School District, Superintendent Vincent.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just found out on the calendar, joint city board informal collaboration, June 17th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll actually turn this back over to you, Dr. Ayala, based off of this, at the last board meeting. The board approved an update to the board resolution on commitment to equity, originally adopted in January 2021 as part of the 90th anniversary of the Lemon Grove incident, now 95-year anniversary. With a recommendation to add language related to digital equity. And so we received some language edits from our board president. And so I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you for incorporating that. Yes, definitely, because we are in a different digital age, and Lemon Grove incident happened in 1930s, right? And lots of wonderful things came from it, including Brown versus Board of Education in 1954. But we are in a different time and committed to equity. So share some ideas here with on page 170, 305. By the way, I love the new packet, the way it's set up with the agenda and all the documents in there. So so the additions, this is additive, not taking anything away, but whereas the board recognizes the equitable access to emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence and digital learning tools, is essential to preparing students for college, career, and civic life in the 21st century, and affirms the board's November resolution supporting reasonable artificial intelligence integration, expanding digital access for students, families, and community. So the whereases are more kind of the values. And then whereas the board affirms the importance of developing 21st century skill sets, which we already have, but includes digital literacy, critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and responsible teaching use to ensure students prepare for the evolving workforce and future economic opportunities. So it kind of brings the equity discussion to workforce and adds an expansion, expand equitable access to digital learning opportunities and emerging technologies, including AI. So basically, we're saying that yes, equity. We want to break down racism, all these isms, but also we want to prepare our community and our kids by enabling them to also come into this new age and supporting them equitably. So it's additive. And thank you, Ms. Florinaro, for pulling the original equity thing. And I saw your email back. I just haven't got back to it, sorry. But so it's just a modification. We approved it last month and we're just modifying it at this point. Discussion, if there's anything else.
Do we need to add for that first whereas, like November 2025? Like, do we need to timestamp that, or, because I know we're doing an edit, or just
Okay, that's a good, you mean like put it under,
where it says that first
oh, good point. Yeah, so
proposed November 2025 resolution?
you're right. Thank you, Trustee Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing. But to my understanding, this is just to say we're updating our current just to make sure that our folks have access, equitable access to technologies.
We're going
because
beyond
expanding
the 1930s version of equity to keep that, but also incorporate digital.
technology.
Yeah.
Understood. Technology and access, because not everybody has access.
Right.
Understood.
Thanks for that. So we can make a motion to approve with that modification. Okay. Moved by Trustee Smith. Is there a second?
I can second.
Trustee Cristiano. All in favor? Further discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Thank you for doing that, Superintendent Vincent, Director Florinaro. I appreciate that. It ties nicely with our upcoming AI and discussions for parents and families, I think this week, right? On Friday. So if folks don't know, district has pulled it together in a very positive, meaningful way and really supporting our families and our kids by providing the first AI training for parents on Thursday. Thank you, Trustee. Is it Thursday? Okay. I'm committed to zooming in however I can.
Correct. Correction. I believe it's only in person for this particular one.
Okay.
We would have needed to prepare our.
But this one's only in person.
In person
Okay.
for this one, yes.
Okay. All right. Sad to miss it. I'll be at a conference, but we do have first and a second to approve the equity resolution with additions, and we voted that already. So thank you. Moving on to 6A, multi-tier systems, and that's Director Burton and Florinaro.
It is on. All right, good evening, board members. Ms. Fulinar and I are so excited to present on this topic to you all. If you see up there on the tagline, it says fostering educational equity through multi-tiered systems of support. And you have probably heard that before, right? So for the last 5 years, we've used that as our tagline and really starting place for the strategic plan and work that we've been doing in Lemon Grove to build equitable systems that really support all of our students. And what we haven't really necessarily done is dig into with you all here today, what is MTSS? What is the work that Lemon Grove has done as a school district with this framework, and how we're continuing to refine it in achieving greatness for our students, families, and our staff members. So on the next slide, this is sort of your quick 101 on MTSS. So at the very top here, it really has, again, that tagline, and this is a definition that we've adopted, but reflects what quite a lot of experts in MTSS would name as a framework. So MTSS is a comprehensive framework that aligns the academic, behavioral, social, emotional needs and mental health in a fully integrated system of support for the benefit of all students. MTSS ensures there is an intentional plan for every student who comes to the school to be included and successful. At the core of MTSS is data-based decision-making. MTSS offers the structure to create systemic change through intentional design and redesign of services and supports to quickly identify and match to the needs of all students. I think what our educators, our families, and our students would even say is we are facing unprecedented student profiles. We have students in a classroom with big needs and differing backgrounds and circumstances that we may not have traditionally served before. And MTSS is a framework that says to expect the unexpected and have a plan for it, right? How do we build a universal program to support all students? That is a great foundation, but also plan who needs this supplemental small group support, who needs that intensive plan for their individual needs with a whole team of adults behind them. And that's what MTSS does. What we have done in Lemon Grove there is at the bottom, you see our 4 pillars for MTSS, and that's unique to us and what we built together with our MTSS team members. So we have first and foremost that whole child database decision making. So we take into account if you're struggling in reading, let's look at everything going on to see, is it a reading challenge or is it because there's an attendance challenge or is there a mental health component, right? So really looking at all aspects. High impact instruction. We know that rigorous grade level instruction grounded in the 4 pursuits as well. 5%, I'm so sorry. It's late at night for me, I guess. Grounded in CHRT as well as that rigorous component is so essential for our students, the first and foremost. And next is collaborative leadership. So not one person can ever know all the answers to everything. And so building a team that looks at the whole aspect of the whole school and our students is how we make the best decisions for our schools and our students and families. Last is fostering community and capacity. So again, this is where relationships matter, people matter, it takes a village. And so taking the time to build relationships and connections to what is within our district as well as in our community in Lemon Grove and in San Diego County is really how we make it work for our students. So what is MTSS? Those were a lot of fancy educational terms, and trust me, I know that probably didn't make all of the visuals come together. So we have another one here. When we're talking about multi-tiered systems of support, we're talking about having a plan for a universal program that meets the needs of academic, behavior, social, emotional programming. And that is what we plan for all of our students to be successful with. But some of our students are going to need more. So we have that tier 2 plan or a supplemental plan, which is you get everything in tier 1 and you might need a reading intervention. You might need small group counseling with our social worker. And so we have that mapped out in advance and we don't just wait for the needs to show up. Tier 3 is when we have a situation for a student that will need a multidisciplinary team to really look at all aspects with more intensity, use more data, and provide those individual recommendations for the student based in all areas of their whole person. Because we are working with people, not machines. But we have all of that planned out, so we always are making adjustments and plans to ensure that the school program, the district program, has resources and structures to meet the really incredible variability that we come across, especially post-COVID. The next slide. So what I find crazy to think about is MTSS has actually only been in the district for about 4 years. So we really have done an incredible job with these amazing teachers, social workers, school psychologists, classified staff intervention teachers, school administrators, all working so hard to make these programs possible. And so I like going down memory lane. So on the next slide, you'll see in a launching phase. So really from 2020 to 2021, that first school year, it was like a pre-launch year. We didn't do MTSS yet, but what we were working on in the district was to first contract with Panorama Education, which we're going to talk about a little more later. But that was essential to have a dashboard of data as well as have our student SEL survey. And then we made the job description for intervention teachers. So we collaborated with LGTA and we had that job description approved with the board. We're able to hire our incredible intervention teachers. And then we also were able to codify having MTSS site team stipends. So those team members who are stepping up to support their site were able to be compensated for the work done outside of contract hours. And lastly, we started to hold those MTSS site team meetings. So our first year in MTSS was really about the vision of MTSS and understanding what it is, because that takes longer than you think, and then actually just spending time together in meetings to look at the work and start building that cohesion. So in building it, which is 2021 to really last school year, we were doing a lot of focus on how do we sustain this structure. So we started our DOMTSS team, so kind of a central team to oversee and maintain this work. That MTSS team, the district team, then started holding district-wide MTSS meetings for all of our site team members to come together and learn, collaborate, share practices. We codified the district MTSS playbook, and we set up as a district our 4 pillars of MTSS, which corresponded to a self-assessment tool, so we could constantly reflect on how we were doing. And lastly, we started what is arguably one of the more concrete elements of this work, which is documenting intervention data on how our students are doing in Panorama. And so that was a big component of the last few years. In the next slide, last school year, we sat down and MTSS team members had said resoundingly, we can't keep all doing slightly different protocols. It doesn't work. All of us sites had a slightly different way to approach MTSS. And so we had to sit down and identify what are the best practices across the district that we all agree we would like to do. Because we want to solve that problem. We want to have the same system. And so all the site MTSS team members came together every meeting last year to look through all the things already happening, look at outside districts, look at recommendations, and then adopt a new process that all sites would follow. So we took the whole year to do that. And then in this year, we implemented that drafted procedure that we put together. And so across the board, we did a phased rollout to train other staff on what this new process was and try it out in a very learning phase. We knew it wouldn't be perfect, but we really wanted to have an aligned system. And so as we wrap up this implementation year, our first implementation year of this aligned MTSS process, we'll be really using our last meeting to reflect on what we appreciate, what we want to update, and how we want to use next year in our training and supports. And so with that, I have the great pleasure to pass it to Executive Director Fulinara, who will speak through the next part of our section. Thank you.
Wonderful. So on this slide is a flow chart of the standardized process that Becky just described. So it illustrates all of the supports that happen at each of the tiers, tier 1, 2, and 3, the steps and decisions of how we identify, support, and monitor student needs across the schools. A key feature in this standardized process is regular progress monitoring, which typically happens every 4 to 8 weeks. This ensures that we are monitoring whether the interventions are working, and if they're not, we adjust quickly. As Becky mentioned earlier, an essential feature is that Tier 1, our universal supports, they never go away. Even when a student receives either tier 2 or tier 3 support, they continue to receive that strong tier 1 instruction. This flow chart guides the MTSS site teams to monitor student progress regularly to ultimately ensure that supports are timely, they're appropriate, and they're responsive, that students receive the support when they need it. So next slide. And so at each of the school sites, as mentioned, we have a dedicated team whose purpose is to ensure the framework is implemented effectively and equitably. And so each team has clearly defined roles. And as Becky mentioned, these roles have evolved and every year they have become clearer and clearer. In the past 2 years, this has been a part of the process. As we developed the flow chart and the standardized process, it surfaced that we needed specific people to serve different functions. So the MTSS facilitator, they are the ones who are leading this work. Because we are monitoring student progress through data, we have a data and equity lead. There is a family and community lead who strengthens family and communication and engagement. And just in case we are considering students moving to a tier 2 or tier 3 support, we have an SST coordinator who ensures alignment with those processes. And because we have to continue learning and not only look at data, but also ground ourselves in research and strategies, we have a training lead who builds staff capacity. And so these teams, they meet regularly to analyze student progress, monitor how things are going, and problem solve around student needs. And this just also ensures that alignment, that we are embracing and considering the whole child, academic, social, emotional, and behavior. So a key piece in this work, so next slide, is panorama education. And so next slide. Panorama is a central platform that brings together all of the whole child data that allows MTSS and really at all levels, from the classroom to administrators, to monitor student progress. It's really a one-stop shop that brings together and triangulates academic data, behavior data, and social emotional learning data. And so not only does it bring all of the data to one place, we know as educators, we are always engaging in data dives, data analysis. And what's been really helpful is that Panorama in this past year has included a new tool called Solara, which is an AI supported program that helps teachers and teams quickly analyze data and recommend actionable next steps. We use it as a guide, as a thought partner, our use of AI responsibly in considering the student need, but it's been a tremendous help in analyzing that student data. And so that we are not just collecting it and looking at it, we are actually taking action and using it to drive instruction, drive supports, guide interventions, and improve student outcomes. And so taken together, next slide, these systems, our procedures, our site teams, our data platform, Panorama, ensures that MTSS is not just an idea, but it's a coherent, actionable system that supports every student every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I clicked on the video and I'm seeing the panorama video here. It looks amazing. Amazing. So board members, thoughts, ideas. I know this is the fourth, fifth year. I feel like we've been implementing MTSS forever, but I didn't, yeah.
Started in 2020, but that was a pre-launch year, so but in reality, we've been doing the work for 5 years. So, and RTI was in place beforehand. A lot of things that feed into MTSS.
And I know there's a tier 1, tier 2, tier. I had no idea what that was until I came to the district, and I've used that in my regular work to kind of analyze things. So the handoff, like, is there like one person that knows everybody and what tier they are in, or is that like it sounds like the tool might help, right? That dashboards can start helping. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Board members?
I have a couple curiosities. First of all, I love the fact that we are putting this much time into something that's, behavior related and something that like an intervention, right? So I guess my curiosity is, I know this takes time, right? Is you're watching a child and you're trying to step in and we're trying to be as proactive. We're having meetings. How does this follow the child from one institution to another? Because if we have, someone going from elementary to middle school, we want to make sure our middle school educators are aware of not having to take time again and relearn the child, right? So how does this information how does the data follow the child? Does it stay in their record, or what's happening with maybe the handoff piece? Yeah.
So that was one of the problems we needed to solve for the district. And what Panorama offers is instead of SSTs, which are the meetings to review a student and build that individual plan, there would be a site who would hold those meetings and then the student would transfer to another school and all that documentation or planning would disappear. So Panorama, if what we house everything in Panorama, so the student data lives with the student. So whether they go to another school or not, you can still access their profile and see any interventions they've had, all the data they've had, any support notes that a teacher may input, and it doesn't disappear now. So it being electronic, lives in Panorama, it means we have access to that student wherever they go, and that's been a huge support, I think. Yeah.
Thank you.
Amy, would you add anything?
Yes, I would also add at the end of the year, for example, our intervention teachers, they print. And so the plans that have been put in place are those printed plans are also put into the students' CUME files as well.
Got it. Thank you. So if they needed to take them to high school or whatnot, and they needed to address those. Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great question. After coming back from DC and learning about those acts about child information protection, it'd be interesting to find out, not now, but like down the road, how this technology aligns with that. If it's, because I know there's a lot of efforts to put a lot of guardrails around how data is stored, shared, tracked, how long does it live, et cetera. And those acts that we learned about in DC are going to have an impact. So. Other thoughts, questions? This information item. Thank you. Not seeing any. Thank you. Fantastic job. Appreciate it. Very innovative. And whose is that? Well, she's watching the panorama video. Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool. I like it. All right, moving on to consent. Actually, future board agenda items. I don't think we have any more to give Superintendent Vincent. Okay. Consent agenda, motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move for approval.
Moved by Trustee Preciado. I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And now we are closing functions. No public comment. The time is 7:34 and we are adjourned. Thank you.